All righty. Good afternoon and good morning to everyone. I'm coming to you from Christchurch in New Zealand. First of all, thanks everyone for having me. And I'm really excited to give a little bit of a sneak peek about some of the work that we've been doing with Cadence at Instaclustr. So first, a quick introduction to who Instaclustr is and what we do. Instaclustr is essentially a unified database as a service. We got started providing Apache Cassandra as a service on all the major cloud providers and have quickly expanded into other highly scalable, highly available kind of data layer technologies such as Kafka, OpenSearch, and Spark. And we've also recently added Redis and Postgres. And really, we take care of all the care and feeding of these particular technologies, right? So, the aim is you're building upon some of these awesome open source databases, and you run it with Instaclustr, you can just treat it as a black box, and we really take care of the rest. I'm Ben Bromhead, the CTO and the co-founder of Instaclustr. I have to admit, most of my experience has been on the Cassandra side of things. But seeing how people use these kind of capabilities in production, has been really awesome. What I'd like to do is introduce you to Cadence. It's the new offering that we have. It's currently in public preview. We started working with Cadence probably about a year and a half ago. A number of our customers were actually using our Apache Cassandra services as well as Kafka and OpenSearch, for the advanced visibility, and they were using those for their own Cadence deployments, right? And we started actually working with, some quite large, food delivery services, as well as one of the largest, buy now, pay later providers in this space, helping them, with their Cadence deployment and the underlying data stores, right? And so with that in mind and that experience, we started exploring, building our own Cadence offering and our own Cadence service. It was a really, really great fit. And we'd been looking at a workflow engine or something like a workflow engine to bring into our service offering for some time. Today it's the first public Cadence as a service offering. You can go to instaclustr.com and start playing around with that. We're currently offering version 0.21.3, but I believe we're going to have that upgraded fairly shortly. It leverages all our underlying existing infrastructure, right? So it's all kind of built on that wonderful rock solid infrastructure that we've been providing for the last 6 or 7 years. From day one, we also support delivering that into your own cloud account or running it on ours. So whether that's AWS, GCP, Azure, you get a lot of flexibility and choice around where you run that, right? We're also, this is a public preview, right? So, it's not fully baked out in certain areas, but very quickly we will provide a REST API around driving it. So you can easily integrate that into, your CI/CD pipelines, as well as, Terraform providers to make that nice and easy. And today I'll show you a little bit of the web interface as well with a quick demo. We also support different connectivity methods and, Graviton or ARM-based infrastructure will be coming fairly shortly. So what does it look like? What are the parts that we actually, take care of? So we take care of not only the underlying data stores, but also the underlying Cadence nodes. You as a customer will still be responsible for the workers and obviously your own workflows. And there's a certain amount of that where we'll be also looking at, well, how can we further improve that experience and bring some of that scope closer to us, and we can kind of take care of more of that for everyone. So you can just really focus on, writing code and letting it get out there and start running. But I'm sure, as you've seen through a number of these previous examples and use case studies from all the other wonderful folk on this meetup, is it's really great to have a lot of control over how you handle and schedule and build your workers, to best suit your particular workload. Of course, we also provide, all the great visibility around that. So we'll surface a number of metrics around how your Cadence infrastructure is performing, as well as, the Cadence web interface as well, to explore and debug how your workflows are going. And, we also do support advanced visibility as well, which, gives you better flexibility just around searching and seeing what's happening with different jobs, right? And of course, you can always, as I said, jump onto instaclustr.com and go check it out. But I think now is time for a quick demo. So I'll have a quick offering to the demo gods, and we'll hope that this all kind of goes well. So hopefully everyone should be able to see my screen here. I'm going to just zoom in a little bit. It'll make all my formatting go a bit weird, but should make it a little bit easier. So I've prepared a previous Cadence cluster as well, but what I'll do is I'll very quickly take you through the act of going through and provisioning and deploying a production-ready Cadence cluster, right? So what we'll do is we'll call it Meetup Demo. Here we can indicate what SLA tier where you kind of want this to fall under. We kind of define it loosely by production or non-production. This is really just, it doesn't change anything technically under the hood, but it means, our monitoring and our support systems and our operations staff have a bit of a better understanding of what the priority is around this. So we'll choose Cadence as what we want to go and deploy. Here we can choose which cloud provider we want. We'll just leave it at AWS and we'll go through to next, right? We've got a nice big warning saying, hey, watch out, we're in preview release, but that's all good. Here you'll be able to choose the version, a few other different extra options that you can pick as well. You can choose advanced visibility. At the moment, I don't have an OpenSearch cluster that's ready to be used for the demo, so I'm just going to untick this just for the purposes of now. But if you had one ready to go, tick that box and be able to kind of configure it up there. Here is kind of the final, I guess one of the final stages of setup. You can choose a existing Cassandra cluster, so it automatically finds one, and we can kind of go off like that. So we'll choose Cas Demo 1, and then we can also choose, where we provision that, right, in terms of network infrastructure. So a lot of flexibility around where you do it, and we can kind of go from there. Last stage is just to choose which region you want it in. You can play around with, networking so you don't have any clashes on the VPC peering side. We also have support out of the box for volume-based encryption as well, which is supported by, AWS or whatever cloud provider you choose. So there's a bit of flexibility around how you protect data as well. We'll hit the next button. Off we go, and we'll start deploying that, right? Now, the fun part about this is, of course, AWS takes a little bit of time to give us all the infrastructure under the hood. So what I'm going to do is we're going to jump through into a one that I prepared earlier. So some of the first things that we kind of will surface, again, at the moment for the public preview, some of the metrics are a little bit limited, right? So we're largely just showing CPU usage and disk usage, and then showing that based on, the different roles that you've got within the different parts of the infrastructure that's been deployed. But again, we'll look to surface, a number of decisions, complete workflows, all that kind of fun stuff. Here we can see the deployed infrastructure that we've got. We can see the various roles that each one of these nodes in the Cadence cluster has. We've got the Cadence web workers there, so we co-deploy that as well. It's a pretty lightweight task, to be honest, but in the future we'll always have the option to start to spread out and segregate some of those roles if needed. Again, all of this I won't go through in like super detail too much. The more important one is the connection info. So this is how you actually connect to your Cadence cluster. Some of you might have noticed when we provisioned the Cadence cluster, going through that setup steps, you've got the ability to either deploy it with public IPs or without. In this particular case, I've deployed it with public IP, so it's going to make driving the demo from my laptop at home here a little bit easier, right? And then also what we do is, just to help people get started, is we provide a bunch of pre-filled, customized examples that work just straight out of the box, with your particular cluster, right? So we pre-generate a whole bunch of the commands that you can use just to kind of get started. The one that I will be taking you through today is just a very quick example workflow, done using the Python SDK. So what I will do here is jump through to my terminal, and let's have a quick look at that. So this is the code that we're going to be running, right? So, we've defined, the various tasks that we're going to be using. But more importantly, this is kind of where the magic happens, right? So this is where we connect into the Cadence cluster. We register our activities implementation and our workflow implementation, and then we use the client to call and execute that particular workflow, right? It's a very, very simple workflow where it just, prints a particular greeting, right? But let's give that a quick go. And there we go. It's connected, runs the workflow, off we go, say hello world, and we're all done there. And so let's jump through back and have a look at our Cadence web interface. And we should be able to actually see what's going on here. I might have to refresh that. There we go. So we've got that most recently run workflow in there. We can use this to see how it went, the result, the status, the start time, close time. And of course, with advanced visibility, you are going to be able to search and filter on tasks, on a whole bunch of other different properties as well, right? So thanks everyone for checking out, I guess our public preview. Definitely please go to Instaclustr.com, check it out. If you are currently running, Cadence, would love to have your feedback around what we're building here. Or, if you're struggling with some of the underlying databases, I certainly saw some people, they make choices based on what they've got operational experience in, say going MySQL instead of Cassandra. We're definitely here to help and take you through that journey. Alrighty, thanks everyone. Back over to the Uber folks.